Right. So I'm just looking to create that overall shape. So let me just go here and then go here and then here and then here. And yeah, granted, I can feel the judgment already on me saying that's not much like what you've just shown us. Agreed. So what I'm just going to do is just get that a little bit more symmetrical. So I'll get that there, pull that to there, and it's a bit more. I can just drag it out a little bit. And bring it into there. Granted, it's going to have a little bit more to it than what I'm applying on it here, so I'm going to go 3mm. Something like that. Yeah. God. Yes. It's because it's restricted. Right. So with it on there, and then so that's that shape. That's what I'm going for. Again, it's not exact, but what I'm actually looking to create is a recess on the top of it. So what I'll do is, to make it even more challenging, I'm going to come from that plane, Control and 8, Control and 8. Swear to God, best tool in the world. All it is just a shortcut. I'm going to put it something like, let's go something like that. Okay, nice. Right, so if let me just bring my mouse down. There we go, spin that around a bit. Right, so what I'm after now is I'm just after, 2 seconds, I think we have a quick question come in. Do we? No, we don't. Apologies. Right, so what I'm now going to do is create that profile over the top. So I'll project my curve. Again, this is all stuff that we've done, so I'm not too fussed about going. Stick it onto there. Gotta love this stuff, you really do. You just gotta love it. Let's go surfaces, go a filled surface. Can I select you? Of course I can. I mean, I'm actually still only just setting up that profile, so give it a second. Okay, now I know it's not perfect, but it just creates as, I mean, I could do a dome over the top as well, just by using projections. It is dead straightforward. But now, let's say, for argument's sake, I now need this recess. Getting this recess in and getting it working, as like from the question I had, it's really such a pain in the backside. A few ways of doing it. Again, I am doing this custom, so as I said, if I make a mistake here, don't start judging me. Let's go. Now, based on that, what I'll do is I'm gonna, as much as I've made this up, I do want to make it look at least decent, So I'll bring it to there, something like to there, and then put it like that. Now, all I'm doing at the moment is creating my overall shape of said recess. So I'm just going to bring that out a little bit. Bring that down, something like that. And then what I'll do is I'll use another 3-point curve. These 3-point curves, they're incredible, absolutely incredible. Right, so again, let's make that tangent. Let's not. Just bring that back a little bit. Go to you. Oh, don't be so awkward. You. know what, I cannot be arsed with messing around with that. So it's just because I need to get the angle right on it, and oh, that's a good shout, that, Miriam. Very good shout. Could do. I'm really partial. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't mirror, so please don't get the wrong idea about this. I'm really partial to actually drawing it and doing it symmetrical, so it just gives me an idea of how it's going to look. It's just really the way I'm doing it here is a really long-winded way of doing it. You could do it much quicker. So I'm going to bring my point up to here and then just close it off. This is going to be my recess marker, just like that. Now you look and you kind of go, yeah, but it's not really what we're after. Now what I'm going to use this for is a cutting tool. I'm going to first give myself the overall shape that I'm going to operate to. I'm going to give myself the overall shape that I'm going to operate to, and then I've got something to play around with. But I do not use this as a trim just yet. The tricky thing I've got here is how do I actually control where this recess is going to move towards. So as I said, I'm making this up as I go along, so I may try some things and it might not work exactly as I wanted it to. In fact, to be fair, that's actually your assignment all around. So let's just look back at this recess again. You look here, and arguably it comes down and we end up with our depth down here. So I'm going to create that I'm going to try and recreate that process again. So there's a few ways. So now the question that I got, I presume, I'm just presuming what you're attempting to do is, this is not how I do it, but I'm just double checking. What I presume what you're attempting to do is you're removing your section, and then you're going to ruled surface, and then let me go. Can I select loop? Then you go into your loop itself, and then what you're attempting to do is to create a ruled surface straight down. I'll make that tangent. There you go, normal, and then bring that down to 1 millimeter. Trouble is the way that these move is they move normal to their interpretation. So you look here, if I go perpendicular to vector, yeah, it's because of the way that my surfaces are here. You come back with these errors. Don't get me wrong, as I said, if you go tangent to it, it'll bring you this. But because it's the way that this surface is, it's never going to be able to play a ball like you want it to. You can try going sweep, and with a sweep with that, if I had a profile, I could follow down, and that might actually do it. There is another one as well, which I don't really use an awful lot, if I'm blatantly honest. So extend surface. So let's try this one. If I extend that, if you look here, it'll extend its direction. You can, yeah, if I'm absolutely honest, I really wouldn't go about that process. It's just going to be brutal to you. It's never going to do what you want it to, and it's just going to leave you to so much frustration. Let's have a look what your point is. Okay, yeah. Now, from the point that's been made, using a projection of curves, that's a great idea, and I totally agree with what you're attempting to do. It's just getting this like you want it to. Now you want to try and use as much as you can anything that you've already got. Now in my case, I've got this sketch. I've already got this sketch. This might be something I could use to my advantage. I mean, I won't lie. It is something I can use to my advantage. So let's use a plane to benefit what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to go onto plane, and I'm going to bring that just to that point. Now from here, this is how, again, I do need to point out, this is how I do it. I'm always keen to see people who are coming up with their own ways of doing it. So it's really good when people come up with their own ways. So one way that you could do it is I could just simply convert that. Now it's just the back edge that I want. Interestingly, it's just the back edge that I want. Now you'll see why, because if I then turn that off, bring that back round, I'll turn my plane off because I don't like having millions of things on. It irritates the living crap out of me. Now if I go surface and I will go boundary, I bring you here, and then I'm going to simply go selection, and I don't want the whole group, so I'm just going to go this group, bring that to there. Now again, you know that happens, so we just flip them connectors around. So we flip them connectors around like that. And then what we're starting to get is an initial type of process where it can actually operate. So that then gives me this. Now you do kind of sit there and go, well, still not exactly the recess that we're after. Agreed. However, let's go back to what we had originally. Show that again. And I'm going to extend. Whoops. Don't be stupid. Come on. I'm going to extrude my surface right the way through. And then if I go to trim, now what I've done here is I've got so many things going on. I need to try and bring them all together. So I'm going to go, want to get you, and also want to bring you. Now what this is going to try and do is it's going to try and capture everything I've done, and we can trim this back. So let's remove surfaces. Let's hope it will anyway. Because as some of you may have found already, trimming surface is another one of those where you go, why won't you work? So trim you, and then click OK. Nice. Right, so then what I'll do is I'm going to knit these together, merge all my entities, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go fillet. Again, these are all techniques that we've done. There's nothing new here. I don't want you to think, well, we never did that. We've done all these before. All I'm doing is combining all these techniques together. Bring that to there, bring it on into there, and into there. And again, you know, I've done this off a picture, so again, don't judge me too much on this one. So if I just confirm that, oh, there's always one. Let me just drop that down. Again, I've not operated to any real dimensions, so this thing's going, no? What do you mean? Rebuild failure. Okay, you swine. Then what I'll do is I'll use a face fillet if it'll let me. You gonna let me do a face fillet? Flip you over into there. And let's bring in this face, and this face, and this face, and this face. Is that going to do it? There we go, there we go. And I'll come back in again. And again, I'm only filleting it. Really, in this case, I'm filleting it just to give it that aesthetic. Because you do look and you kind of go, well, nothing's going to be so brutally sharp on these edging. And you kind of go, yeah. So let's bring that up to 1 mil, something nice and sexy. Like that. And then what we end up with is a recess. And really, I mean, here I can get rid of that, I can delete that, I can turn that into an air duct. But developing a recess that now, you see with that now, what I could do if I want to, I could convert that to a solid. I could put that into ANSYS for FEA, not FEA, CFD, or FEA. Sorry, yeah, I could, obviously for carbon fibre. So that's one good way of creating recesses. So to come back to your original question, is this what you were thinking about doing? Just to respond as well, the question you sent me the other day about the American football helmet recess, if you look at the recess on that helmet photo that you sent me, then you look at this recess that I'm saying here, and again, if I spin this round, something like, I've just realised, look at this is embarrassing. I've gone backwards. So, I mean, if anybody was wondering, well, how the hell do you solve that then? You just do everything I've done here, but backwards. So, yeah. But if you, onto a serious note, if you look at that, sorry, 1 second, put the phone to do not disturb. If you look at the helmet, and you look at that recess, you look at the recess I've done here, and what you actually get is a very transferable technique. So I'd say give it a go, see how we go, unless there is something more specific that you wanted me to cover with that. Brilliant. What I'll do is I'm just going to stop recording on that, because that's just a snippet of creating recesses. So let me just stop. Just for the benefit of the recording, what I'm now going to do on this recess panel that we've just created is I'm going to create a simulated, what will be like window or peephole or whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to do is create that profile here. We're going to look at, as I said in the group moments ago, what we're going to do is we'll look at how typically on the aircraft you'll end up with the body, then you'll end up with a nitrile insert, then you'll end up with the window, which will ultimately follow that contour of the profile. What we're going to do is create the 3 layers. Now the recess here, the big challenge is that angle, getting control of that angle and getting it to move like you want it to. The big challenge here is thinking about how to even draw the blooming thing. So if I come in, Control and 8, that didn't work. I hate it when it doesn't. My Control and 8 not working. Joy. Anyway. And what I want to do is create a sketch now that I'll control all 3 of these in one single hit. So I'm going to go offset, not you. I'm going to go offset entities, and I want to offset these entities. And with this, I'm just going, I'll select chain, by the way. Oh, look at that, that's a shame. Right. That didn't do. So I've done my 2mm inserts. That actually didn't work like I wanted it to. So let's do that again. Offset entities. I'll go you, 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 and you. I'm going to reverse that direction. Now I'm probably going to have to reapply the fillets. The offset feature works most of the time. However, if features are lost, what it will do is just cancel the ability to offset. This is where you'll see the overlaps between the offsets on the upper and the lower and the rear vertical. And all I need to do is trim that back and put some more fillets on it. Now the reason I'm doing it, well, I'll show you. Again, I'm just making them numbers up with the 2mm, but what I'll do is trim these sections back, you and you, and then come lower to here and trim that section back, you and you, and then I'll go fillet on that edge. Oh, look at that, it's not happy with that edge. So it's not happy with that edge. Now what I'll need to do then is get rid of any offset constraints to it, like that. Bloody swine. That's coming, and it is not happy because I'm trying to essentially control the inner edge, and it's I need to delete the offsets here. But if I delete it, what it does is it snaps it out like that. I'd need to redefine it again, and I can't be bothered. Yeah, it is. But all I'm doing here is I'm trying to create the ideal offset between the two, and but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for what I want to do anyway. So this is going to be my window. This is going to be my offset panel. But to be fair, I'll just delete it. It's irritating me that it's like that, so I'll just delete it, get them things back into position again. Let's bring that down a little bit. Making a pig's ear of that, so it is. Oh, put on my dimension. He's not happy with that. Fine. Then I'm just going to do like I was going to do. Right. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually project these out, and I'm going to use these as splitting tools. So I'm going to come back out, and I'm going to go features. I'm going to go split curve, split line. Now normally it's not happy to use double profiles, but somebody told me recently they've actually cured this problem, which is pretty cool, really. So we'll certainly find out. Oh yes. Now originally they did not allow for multiple splits in one single hit, and it's been a real complaint with people for years. So what I want to do is I'm going to go my surfaces. Sorry, that was me hitting the wrong thing. So I'm going to go surfaces. I'll do an offset. Make that again. It's just because I'm making this up. Go 1 mil and reverse that direction in. This is very similar to as I was showing with the motorcycle bits for the wheels, for tires. Sorry, need to stop saying wheels, for the tires. So if I now go delete face, get rid of you, and get rid of you, and then click OK. That now creates me my recess with my possibility for my profiles. Now you can't simply just fill that. So if I go fill surface and fill that surface, I need to fill the old bloody edges. Right, so if I go fill surface and then right click, and I'm going to select the open loop, and then right click and select the open loop. Then what it will do is it will fill it that way. Now the trouble is when you fill it, I mean, it does. I mean, arguably, what it does do is if you look, it does create bubbles, and it does create that almost rubber type look. But some may not be happy with that. So if I, for example, if I just knit that, and merge them entities, you look there, and you kind of go, okay, yeah, all right then. So that's one way of doing it. But as I said, some are very particular and would prefer to have full control over what they've done. So if I just delete that and delete my filled surface, what I can do is I can put constraint curves onto it. And with my constraint curves, it will give me just as much as a control. So let me have a look at where I've got with my planes. So I'm going to add another plane in. I can't remember which plane I've got active at the moment, so what I'm just going to do is just stick one there, there, and finally there. So that then now gives me my profiles to start creating constraint curves. So if I sketch onto there and stick on it, for this, for example, I'm just going to put on a 3-point curve. Everyone knows how much I love a 3-point curve. If I press Control, select my target, select my point, and I'm just going to pierce repeat that process again, select the lines, point and pierce. And now what that is rather than just settling, I can control an overall profile of it. And I'm just going to try. Now, I don't think my initial thought of a sweep is going to work too well because of that edge, unless I mess around to get that fillet on. If I get that fillet on, it will follow it perfectly. But I'm not sure how well this will follow on this. So let's, just for argument's sake, let's give it a go and see what it does. So if I go sweep, this profile, and follow, right click, selection manager, I'll go group, there, okay. Yes, so there you see it's not happy because what it does, it'll come round, get to here, and then have to stop. So it's a pain, I do totally get that. So if I go boundary then, and then I aim to try and bring it in that way, I could go there, then right click and go there. Make sure that's moving like I want it to, which for me that's, oh, that is brutal. Look at that, that is not good at all. I'll bring that contour line in. So it does create that bubbled profile. So if I just zoom into, you can see there on the zebra lines, zebra curves, that's actually creating that profile. It's a little bit more risen. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more bubbly. So if we're going to knit that together, there's the entities. Now, a lot of people do prefer this just because this, when you're doing cars, when you're doing vehicles, when you're doing any points where you've got a rubber mount between multiple points, use that profile as a sweep and it creates such an authentic, not authentic, but it gives such an aesthetic appearance that works really well for what you're doing. You could, yes. So your point of, can you fill it that lower part? You could. I mean, if I'm honest, the only reason I didn't is I was just being lazy with it. I could just go around and play around with that sketch to get it working as it was. My choice of offsetting everything in one hit may not have been the best as I was hoping. If I just used a couple of them lines, they would act as construction as it is. And then I could fill it. Good question. Right. I only laugh because I know that we were talking about this earlier. I will show you. I'll show you. Let me just stop this from recording. Oh, let me just stop this. Stop that.